All right, guys, it's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are live here in chilly Cleveland, Ohio. Hope you're having a great week out there so far, wherever you are in the world. As always, if you're watching this live, just drop in the comments. Tell me where you are tonight. It is a big one. We're going to be talking about how to make your dreams come true. That's a heck of a promise, right? Well, tonight I'm going to deliver. But first, I want you to ask yourself, do you have a dream? Do you still remember it? We all have things that we want to manifest in our lives. We have problems that we want gone forever. Maybe we want to see our family restored. We want to lose weight, write a book, go to Europe, start our own business, break an addiction, whatever it is. But then month after month, year after year of not seeing anything changing, we get discouraged and slowly we put our dreams on the back burner. One day we wake up and we discover we have sacrificed our happiness for an illusion of what life should look like. Well, tonight, I am going to give you the process I've been teaching for 30 years all over the world. 3 easy steps, and I'm revealing all to you tonight. For 30 years, I've been teaching people all over the world how to unlock and unleash their mind power, how to make real transformation in their lives. So get ready. I'll be pulling back the curtain. I'll be giving you real strategies on making your dreams attainable. And to do that, you don't have to buy a course. You don't have to meditate in a cave for a month. You don't have to walk on hot coals. You don't have to do anything. What you need is already inside you. You have this inner power, but you just don't know how to activate it. That is what I'm teaching you tonight. I am Brent Webb. This is Mind Power Secrets Live. The process that I'm going to show you tonight is the same one I've been teaching all over the world for 30 years. It's 3 steps. Each step builds on the one before, and by the third, you're able to activate that inner power. You're able to start making those real changes in your lives. These 3 steps, easy as A, B, C, because that is, each starts with that letter. So we're going to start with the A. That stands for awareness. Having self-awareness allows you to see where your thoughts and emotions are coming from, but more important than that, it will also show you where they are taking you. It allows you to take control of those emotions, of that behavior, of your personality, so you can make changes in the thoughts and interpretations that you make in your mind. Then, almost instantaneously, a change of emotion will follow. Awareness. Now, first, let me share with you how we all lost it, because we did lose it. When we're born, we're blank slates. We have no distractions. As we're growing up, we heard our body. We were aware of its needs. Therefore, we cried when it was time to eat. Our parents fed us. We were happy. We laughed. When we were sad, we cried. But with time, we grew up. We learned how to talk, walk, eat, and play. However, at the beginning, we didn't have a choice. Our parents decided for us. That is the beginning of our programming. Then we go to school. We go to a completely new environment where we don't get to choose the knowledge. We don't get to choose the subjects. It was the responsibility of the teachers to deliver what the education system chose for us, for all of us. Whether at school or at home, we were constantly tested. We were judged based on poor interactions and responses at those particular moments in time. It's how our awareness shifted from the inner self to the outer world. And boy, was that a mistake. We developed the need to conform. We lost complete track of our identity, and we became slaves of trends, of news, looks, and so many other things. Now, this lifestyle somehow created a conflict between who we truly are and how we should be based on these new standards of our society. We moved into a lost, disoriented, and unfulfilled state of mind, struggling, fighting to figure out what we genuinely want. So, in other words, we got trapped. Awareness is not hard to acquire, but it requires a lot of commitment to set a process in place to gain that awareness back. It is a habit, after all. I know what you're thinking, a habit? Yeah, it's a habit that needs some unlearning first. Now, before we do that, you need to know that everything in your life is an acquired habit. From the way we think, to the way we eat, to the way we dress, to the way we talk. Those are habits. When we first started using our smartphones, we used to check them occasionally, right? We all had normal lives, or we still made an intentional effort to visit people or call people. We left work at the office and we moved on with our day. Sooner than expected, we were completely consumed with messaging, with texting, with emails, all of this from the comfort of wherever we are, and there's no time limit. So now checking our phones becomes a necessity. We don't want to miss any important emails, all those notifications going off from Facebook and Twitter. The new normal became the prison that up until right now, many of us enjoy. So, Brent, what does this have to do with awareness, you may be asking? Well, it moved us into an autopilot position. Most people, 90% of people nowadays, are stuck to screens wherever they go. They skip on real human interactions that enrich their brains and their souls. Now, as per research and experiments, this addiction is destroying our brains. Not exercising our brain enough leads to a lazy state of mind. It leads to corrosion. It is basically affecting our physical health as well. In the long run, spending that much time on the screen is associated with lower levels of physical activity, and this all contributes to a stagnant state of being and a wasted life where you end up dying while your symphony is still dormant inside you. When your routine becomes unintentional, when you wake up in the morning with no purpose, no goals, no objective, when you move in life with no direction, simply on autopilot, that is the worst enemy of awareness. So, how do we become aware? Well, to be aware is to train yourself daily to be present of what is going on around you. And it doesn't matter if it's the subway, driving a car, eating your lunch in the cafeteria, being on an elevator. It's the first step towards living in the moment and intentionally doing things that work for you in terms of achieving the purpose that you were born to deliver. Each and every one of us has greatness inside. There's something, a purpose that we need to uncover. Now, your next question may be, wait, what if I don't have a purpose? You do. A purpose is not like an option you order on a new car. It is a built-in tool that everyone has. But in this crazy busy world, you might have lost track of it. Maybe because you didn't have time to be with yourself, not enough to explore the superpower of purpose. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you just sat and had a conversation with yourself? No device, no people, nothing around you, just you. Now, most people will say never. Most people never explore the power of internal conversations. And why is that? Well, that's an easy one because we're conditioned to believe that our opinion doesn't matter, especially not when someone else can choose for us. We fall apart when we're completely alone and we have no one to rely on. When we allow our lower mind, which knows everything about us, right? Everything we never got caught doing, everything we'd be embarrassed if anyone found out, that lower mind will use those things against us and torture us. This is where the power of purpose is so important. A purpose fuels you. It feeds you. It keeps you going when everything around you, everyone around you does not make sense. Have you ever been in a position where you were empty-minded? Now, for most people, it's very rare indeed. But when you start to cultivate that, it is the most incredible place to be. You would rather be there than the most expensive, awe-inspiring vacation you can think of. But to discover your purpose, you've got to declutter your mind. Remember, we're like hoarders. We throw all those things, all those thoughts and those emotions and all those things we don't want inside. So you got to declutter. I'm sure you can hear the noise in your mind. You can hear the bitchy roommate narrating your life. And that is preventing you from living with peace and clarity. So how do we declutter? There's so many ways. They range from meditation to visualization to guided mind power exercises to just walking in silence My favorite technique remains journaling. It's part of my morning routine. Every morning, I do 20 minutes, just writing down all the things I'm grateful for. I do a page of scripting, just scripting, creating the life that I'm manifesting as we go forward. But each and every day, it's so important. Getting that feeling of being grateful gives you more things to be grateful for. Now, meditation is a game changer here for awareness because it allows you to make the connection with your inner self. And over time, that meditation, what happens there starts to spill out into your life. You also start to release things automatically without going through the trauma, like if you went to a therapist, just by sitting connected to your inner self. Now, you have to remember, you can never enjoy the process if you don't feel you need to change. Awareness is actually the first step towards transformation, and transformation is what will drastically change your life to a higher level. And let's be honest, transformation is why you're here. Now, if you're thinking, I think I need a transformation, but I'm not sure. If your purpose is not high enough, if your purpose is not hard enough, your passion won't be intense enough to do everything it takes to make it. Therefore, when the purpose is divine, the preparation must be divine. Say you want to climb Mount Everest. First of all, we know, right? You got to be in great physical shape to go on such a tough journey. So we must become aware. This awareness, we put a light on the parts of our body. We see if we can handle this adventure or not. And if we can't and we still want to go, what do we have to do? We have to either develop new skills and sets of habits to raise our body to new levels of performance or stay home. The same goes for your life. First of all, you need to have a purpose. It is the center of your transformation. It will empower you. It will fuel you. It will allow you to break out of your comfort zone and move to a new level where you can unlock that untapped potential inside, not only on a personal level, but also on a professional level. Can you imagine how your personal growth will impact your family, your health, your finances, your relationships, and your work? Now, I want to share with you a few practical tips on creating awareness in your life before we move on to step 2. So here is the first. Be curious about who you are. To be self-aware, a person needs to be curious about themselves. Our minds and bodies are territories for which we still need roadmaps. Every person has some roads they don't want to take, and some roads they feel are worth exploring. How far you'll go in your journey of understanding depends on what you're ready to explore and experience. Next, let your walls down. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. When we see something we don't immediately like in ourselves, our first reaction could be to defend ourselves from it, which is partly why self-awareness is so challenging. Try to let go of judgment and the instinctual urge to protect yourself. You become self-aware through a willingness to let go of the defensiveness and an openness to seeing yourself in a way that is different from what you've always assumed. Now, often this means you have to be willing to see yourself in a less than positive light. And for years, I couldn't do that, not until the last few. That is so hard. One of the most difficult things for me. And for others, they find it easier. But again, pick and choose here. These all work. Pick the thing that works for you. Another way to cultivate awareness is look in the mirror, literally. With my own students and clients, I teach them to use mirrors as a meditation tool to increase their self-awareness. Because when people first look at themselves, they're always very critical. I teach them how to shift their perspective and use their reflection for deeper self-awareness. They learn to track their attention and emotions and gain new insights into how their thoughts are affecting them in real time. This sort of mimics face-to-face conversations that involve deep listening and being fully present with another person. Most people find it almost impossible to look into the mirror, into their own eyes, and just tell themselves that they love them. Try it for yourself. See how it works for you. How about keeping a journal? I told you journaling is so important, but this is another great way to cultivate awareness. Because if you keep a journal, you can start to pay attention to what is triggering positive feelings, right? Because journaling is a great way to be mindful. As you're journaling, pay attention to your day. Ask yourself how you feel. If there are negative feelings associated with the day, think about the triggers. For any positive feelings, think about what may have triggered you to feel happy. That is creating awareness. And finally, substitute some screen time with people time. The average amount of time we spend alone gazing at our screen now surpasses our time in face-to-face contact. Science tells us that we need reflections to develop our sense of self in relation to other people. Now, as we spend more time alone and on our devices, we miss this essential human mirroring. The symptoms of a lack of mirroring are becoming more apparent in our society. That's an increase in anxiety, a lack of empathy, an intense self-objectification, like everyone taking selfies of themselves, for instance. There's a call, if not an urgent cry, but at least a call for a greater self-awareness and reflection. Now, here's my favorite. This is something that I came up with, and I just talked about this in a podcast I did yesterday. Get some Post-it notes. Take a marker, draw something, a heart, a face, a flower, 3 or 4 of these, put them around your house, around the office, whatever. Every time you see that Post-it note, it is your trigger to stop and figure out what's on your mind and write it down. That's all you got to do. Do it 5, 6, 7 times a day. Because when you're on autopilot, your lower mind, your subconscious mind is playing that tape from your childhood. And it's important to find out what's going on with that. So seeing the Post-it note automatically triggers what's on my mind. So if you're on autopilot at that time, you may be blown away by what's on your mind because you're not consciously thinking about it. But write it down, no judgment. Don't get upset at yourself. And whatever you do, don't get pulled into it. Just write it down. At the end of the week, look at it and see what's going on inside your mind. It will blow you away. Changing small things in your daily routine will get you to move out of the autopilot state. It'll get you to move towards a creative state of mind where you are constantly aware. The main goal is to stop that state of acting without thinking. Raising your awareness is the foundation of an abundant life. It paves the way to preventing conflicts and predicting amazing results. It gives back the power to your gut, your natural instinct to guide you instead of letting it suffocate you under this crazy autopilot mode. This life is a temporary journey that does not actually revolve around us individually. The beauty of it comes from this collective awareness of making this world a better place. I told you it's easy as A, B, C, and now we move to the B. The B is belief. Belief is the foundation. It shapes our thoughts, which determines the actions that lead us to the final outcome. Do not discount this. And you can't cultivate the sense of belief that you need without awareness. So these steps have to be done in this order. You can't pick and choose. You have to do them this way because this belief has to be overarching in your life. It has to be so powerful because it influences the thoughts and the behaviors of not only us, but the people around us. Now, back in the 1950s, there was a bedridden man named Mr. Wright, and he faced certain death from cancer of the lymph nodes. He had tumors the size of oranges in his neck, his groin, his chest, his abdomen. Now, I'll tell you, this is the 50s. His prognosis was grim. The only long shot hope was a new experimental cancer drug called cribiazine. 3 days after his initial treatment, the man was out of bed. He was joking with the nurses. As the treatment continued, his tumors shrunk in half. 10 days later, he was discharged from the hospital. The cancer completely gone. Strangely enough, none of the other cancer patients treated with this drug showed any improvement at all. Stranger still, a few years later, it was conclusively determined that it had no therapeutic value at all. The treatment was a complete sham. This is one of the more amazing examples of what's known as the placebo effect. Almost as interesting is the nocebo effect, where you experience the side effects of a medication you only think you're taking. In either case, your mind impacts your physical body. And these symptoms are not simply imagined, but these are instead the result of measurable changes involving shifts in our hormones and our neurotransmitters. This brings us up to the very famous quote by Henry Ford: whether you believe you can do a thing or not, you're right. Now, that is what's known as a self-fulfilling prophecy. It suggests that when we believe in our abilities to achieve a goal, the more likely we're going to be to achieve it. However, when we don't believe in our capabilities, the more likely we'll be to not achieve results. Our success depends on our conviction that we can achieve them. One of the most recognizable instances in this is the difference between a fixed and a growth mindset. The only difference between a fixed mindset that keeps you stagnant and a growth mindset that allows you to flourish in ways you've never imagined is the authentic belief that growth and change are possible for you. Belief, that's it. And sometimes it's everything. Now, it's no secret. Positive thinking doesn't work just by itself. Scientific research continues to show that simply denying the difficulties of a situation is going to lead to something worse. So, what makes the difference between wishful thinking and the true power of belief? It all comes down to the extent or the strength of your belief in your own ability to do a particular thing. In other words, belief plus action is the only secret formula you need. When you're pushing yourself further, you need some form of a plan that creates true confidence that the goal is attainable. By laying the right groundwork and taking small steps in the right direction, you'll find that you will start to believe you can do it. And guess what? Then you do. The power of belief often empowers the highest levels of performance. Performing with belief is a critical factor for achieving success at anything you want in life. It doesn't matter if it's sports, business, school, family, friends, neighbors, doesn't matter. All those things are impacted by your beliefs. What you believe drives what you do, and what you do determines what you achieve. When your belief is strong, you perform smarter, better, and with greater resilience. And again, this is true everywhere: business, athletics, education, personal relationships. What you believe either empowers you or limits you. Empowering beliefs pull you up. Limiting beliefs pull your performance down. This is especially true under competitive pressure or in response to challenging situations. The good news is what you believe is your choice. First, you have to win in your mind. Under pressure, you don't rise to the occasion. You rise or sink to the level of your training. Challenging situations put pressure on your mental toughness. That's why talent isn't enough. Physical training isn't enough. You must be engaged mentally. In other words, you must believe. This is because the body follows the mind. The highest levels of performance require the deepest levels of belief. Elite performers win in their mind first. A great example is the New England Patriots in the 2017 Super Bowl. In the third quarter, the Atlanta Falcons were dominating the Patriots. The Falcons had a 28-3 lead, and it looked like an almost certain victory for Atlanta. No team in the history of the Super Bowl had ever come back from a deficit that big. But then New England elevated their play. Their defense started getting stops, and their offense started scoring points. As the fourth quarter began, you could see and feel New England's belief getting stronger. You could also see and feel Atlanta's belief starting to waver. With a minute left in the fourth quarter, the Patriots scored to tie the game and went on to win in overtime. It was the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history. Now, belief played a big part. The Patriots played poorly, and the Falcons played well for 3.5 quarters. But the Patriots never lost faith, and their belief kicked in when they needed it most. It empowered them to accomplish something that had never been done and which looked impossible at the time. Now, why is belief so powerful? The power of belief resides inside us. It is a God-given thing. It is there. and it gives us the ability to do four things. First, belief creates vision. Belief sees the invisible. It sees what has not yet been accomplished. Belief sees the goal, and it sees the path required to achieve that goal. The path is the work that must be done. And people who believe have a crystal clear vision of what work looks like. They see themselves training, practicing, performing, achieving. They see themselves on the path. They see themselves doing the work. Because of their clarity of vision, they ignore distractions. They ignore doubters. They don't concern themselves with what critics say. Because of their laser-like vision, people who believe win in their mind first. Next, belief creates strength of will. Strength of will is the powerful alignment of uncommon commitment, relentless perseverance, and consistent discipline. Uncommon commitment is the will to do whatever the path requires. Relentless perseverance is the will to stay on path for as long as necessary. Consistent discipline is the will to say no to anything that is off path. Strength of will is not about the commitment to start, it's about the commitment to continue. It's about the many recommitments that are necessary to sustain the journey when it gets difficult, when it gets painful, when it gets tedious. Belief is saying, I will, when it gets hard. It's the mindset that says, I will do the work, I will grind, no matter how difficult. I'll do what it takes. Now, stop for a moment and consider the power of these first two elements of belief: laser-like vision and extraordinary strength of will. Imagine what you could achieve if that is how you lived your life, if this is how you approached learning, if this is how you approached your job. Next, belief creates resilience. Now, resilience is the ability to respond and bounce back from adversity. It is the capacity to navigate through challenges, difficulties, and setbacks. Belief doesn't just survive adversity, it gets stronger because of it. Belief empowers people by giving them unshakable resolve. Belief is what animates the ability to respond to any situation with extraordinary toughness, tenacity, and determination. Because they believe, elite performers maintain an unwavering focus on what needs to be done in response to adversity. They don't waste their attention, they don't waste their time, they don't waste their energy complaining or worrying. They focus all of their attention and all of their energy on what needs to be done. They have a never quit, never give in, never give up mindset. When it gets harder, they get better. You can cultivate this. I know you're listening to this and thinking it's not possible for you. It is possible for all of us. When difficult situations hit, belief becomes something super powerful. It sustains your vision and strengthens your will when everything around you tells you it's not going to happen. It makes you stronger because of the adversity that you are forced to endure. Next, belief ignites and activates. Belief does one more thing that is unique in human performance. Belief unleashes you. Because it has laser focus and because it burns through doubt and distractions, belief is the ignition that activates your ability to operate at your max capacity. It gives you full access to your talent and your abilities. Belief is the trigger that empowers you to perform at the highest level. Under pressure, your belief determines how much access you have to your capabilities. Most people work very hard to develop capabilities, but sometimes fail to gain full access to them because of doubt or distractions or negative thinking that holds them back. Belief ignites and activates everything. Talent isn't enough. Training isn't enough. You must be fully engaged mentally. The highest levels of life require the deepest levels of belief. So it bears repeating, you must win in your mind first. And that brings us now to the C. We have awareness. We have belief. And when those two are aligned in your life, you activate an amazing power. It is the power of creation. You must realize that you are the co-creator of your reality. If you deny this, it denies your power. There are three buckets in life. There are things we control, things we influence, and things over which we have no control. What is not under our control are the many random events that happen. The family we were born into, earthquakes, storms, pandemics, illness, job layoffs, sudden death of loved ones, fires. These are circumstances that we experience and events that we are aware of. We influence other living things with our actions. If you walk into a room and you see a stranger sitting there and you decide to slap them in the face, that person will surely respond differently than if you smiled at them. But you don't determine how they respond. That person could decide to run away, they could turn the other cheek, or they could slap you back. What we control and where we really start to create our reality is in how we perceive, how we interpret, how we think about the events in our life that generate our feelings, especially the feelings about those events, and how we respond with our behavior. No one can choose your thoughts or your actions. Those are yours alone. So let's try something. Imagine your significant other breaks up with you, and your thought is, I will never find anyone else to love me again. Guess what? You're going to experience some negative emotions. You're going to experience depression. You're going to likely engage in behaviors consistent with these feelings, like staying in bed. But if, on the other hand, your thought is, I'm really glad this person's out of my life, then you're very much going to act differently. You're going to feel differently. You get to choose which way to think. Now, here's where the creating part gets serious. Your thoughts, if you believe them over and over and assign truth to them, become beliefs. Beliefs create a cognitive lens through which you interpret the events of your world. And this lens serves as a selective filter through which you sift the environment for evidence that matches up with what you believe to be true. You're not looking for new information. You're looking for evidence that fits what you already believe. For example, if the belief you form when that partner breaks up with you is that you're not attractive enough, and then you go to a party where 10 different people tell you you look incredible, but one person tells you that your outfit choice is interesting, what are you going to do? You're going to go home, you're going to fixate on the interesting comment. You might think other thoughts consistent with your beliefs, such as, why do I always pick the wrong things to wear? I have no style. Everyone else dresses better than me. I must look like such a loser. No wonder my ex dumped me. The other 10 people who said you looked incredible, they might as well not even have existed for you. You only took in the evidence from the environment that was consistent with your belief, which then reinforced your original belief that you're not attractive enough. This is huge in politics, especially right now. Not seeing anything besides your little narrow view of what is real. Because of the brain's selective filtering system, and this is often referred to as priming, it works on an activation inhibition model where the brain is primed by a certain belief to look for something. It shuts down competing neural networks. So you actually have a hard time seeing evidence to the contrary of your existing belief. If this doesn't scare the hell out of you, nothing will. Think about this. That is why people are so depressed, and that's why they're so depressed about seeing this world that they think is going to hell in a handbasket. It's also why you're so convinced that your view of the world is the truth. What most people don't realize is they are participating in creating their own version of the truth. What you take in from the environment through your belief filter becomes your self-concept. Your self-concept is made up of I am beliefs about who you are presently and I can beliefs about who you're capable of being in the future. From these I am and I can statements, you create stories and narratives about who you are that tell yourself and other people all day long. Things like, I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I can't do it. I'll never lose weight. I'll never make the money I need to make. I'll never achieve my goals. You are the main character in your story. You write the script based on your self concept, and that is self created. You write the story of what you think is likely and possible based on what you believe is true. And then you take actions consistent with these explanations. When you act on what you expect will happen before it actually does, you participate in creating the experience. For example, if you don't have a positive self concept and you fear rejection when you go on a date or go to a job interview, you're not likely to present your best self by acting calm and self confident. You are likely to be anxious and act in a way that is more likely to result in rejection. Hence, the self fulfilling prophecy. We act in ways likely to bring about what we believe is true. That is the very definition of creating your reality. You are participating in creating your reality, whether you know it or not. And there's nothing magical about it, there's nothing woo woo about it. It is simply the way our brains operate. When you deny, reject, or are unaware of this, then you have very little power and you feel like a victim in your life. But with awareness comes choice. With belief comes choice. And then you create, you start to understand this process. You start to make it work for you. You now become empowered and you can finally make the transformations in life that you want to make. So remember, awareness. You can't start without awareness. You have to figure out what's going on inside your mind. What are the dominant thoughts up there? Especially now, with everything pulling our time and our focus away, you need some time to connect with yourself. That awareness will create belief, and those two together will allow you to become the co-creator of your reality. You're already doing it, but most of the time you're creating what you don't want. You're bringing into your life all the things you don't want, that you're afraid of, that you think you're holding away, but you're actually manifesting, because it's your overriding thoughts that are doing it, especially when those overriding thoughts are fueled by emotion. And again, positive or negative, most of the time it's negative. You can change all of that with the ABCs: awareness, belief, creation. All right. If you're not a member of our Facebook community, you really, really need to be. Thousands and thousands of like-minded people banded together, helping and empowering each other to reach their goals, to transform their lives, to awaken to the fact that there is so much more out there than we realize. It is a private group. We turn away 5 out of 6 people. We don't allow any spam. We don't allow people in there selling things and trying to get you into their multi-level marketing program or any of that crap. It is just people dedicated to their awakening, their transformation, and yours, sharing the tips, the strategies, the techniques that got them to where they are. So if you'd like to join, we'd love to have you. Go to brentsgroup.com, no apostrophe, brentsgroup.com, and get your invitation. Come in, take a look. Everything that I teach, you're going to find there. On our YouTube channel, 800 videos. In our Facebook community, thousands and thousands of posts, videos, trainings, everything you need. You don't have to, like I always say, you don't have to meditate in a cave. You don't have to buy a special course. You don't have to walk on hot coals. You have it inside. You have to activate it. You need step-by-step system that takes you from where you are to where you want to go. Success leaves footprints. Follow the people who have done it before. brentsgroup.com. And finally, I'm getting ready to go on a cruise in a couple of weeks. So it's kind of rush time here, but we have a few weeks left of my book, 5 Steps to the Perfect Mindset. Then it will be going into the vault. So if you'd like a copy, it is free right now, but don't wait. Depending on when you're watching this, it may not be available. So go to successsecrets.net, download a copy right now. Start using it in your life. It's a quick read. 5 things you can do today to start changing your mindset. It's all mindset. No matter what you're facing in life, finances, health, relationships, they all start with mindset and how you think about them, how you're going to attack that problem, how you're going to make that goal happen. 5 steps to the perfect mindset, successsecrets.net. Don't forget, we're here each and every Wednesday. I'm here for you, sharing 30 years experience all over the world, teaching billionaires, millionaires, celebrities, professional athletes how to unlock and unleash their mind, how to use that life force energy that returns to them to focus it where it matters, take control of their life. So I'm here every Wednesday night live, just like tonight, teaching you what you need to know to start making real transformation. Change isn't enough. The butterfly can't go back, become the caterpillar, because it's transformed. That's what we want, true transformation. So I'll see you back here next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have any questions or comments about anything that we're teaching, just put it down there in the comments. We check these each and every day. That's all I got for you. Go out and enjoy yourself. Give yourself a little love. Give yourself a second or third chance because you deserve it. Remember, don't worry. Be happy and feel good. See you next week.